Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 130th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Disney's number one hater, Jaden.
Hello.
And we've also got PCA's number one fanboy, aka John Cena, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hello.
Holy shit, you came in hot there. At least for me. Oh, damn.
Oh, it was loud, wasn't it? Sorry, I'm so excited to talk about it.
No, are you a bit louder than usual, though, Zach?
Am I?
I don't know. Just felt very.
I feel like he is. I turned him down a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's had to turn me down. Oh, that's sad. Shit. What were you so excited about here, Liam?
I'll talk about Ocean's 8. Sorry to spoil the movie, but it's in the title, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows. And everyone knew last week as well. We've got a lot of hardcore listeners out there, you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. I've started to become a bit self-conscious when I re-listen that I feel like I slur we review. I feel like I say the podcast where we review, like I don't really say it properly. The podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday, just for those who don't understand my messed up, you know.
You've
like 129 of them, you know. You're allowed to slur it at this point.
Yeah, no, that's I appreciate you saying that, but I know it's bothered me a little bit. Anyway, just had to completely derail the show for that. Anyway, this week we're reviewing Ocean's 8, which opened in the US on the 7th of June, 2018. It was directed by Gary Ross. It's a crime heist film, and the synopsis says, Debbie Ocean gathers an all-female crew to attempt an impossible heist at New York City's yearly Met Gala. I really wanted to say it right because they made a point of that in the movie as well. It's not gala, it's gala.
Please tell me you've never said gala before that.
I don't think so. I think I would have actually just completely never thought about it, would have just said gala, but the movie made me like have an itch of doubt in my mind, you know? I'm like, oh, is it, you know? Just it implanted in my subconscious the idea that people get it wrong, you know? So I didn't want to get it wrong. It's weird. Anyway. All right. Ocean's 8. I'll start with Jaden. Jaden, yeah, I'll start with Jaden. That's fine. What do you think of Ocean's 8, our final film in this journey of a franchise right here?
It was okay, but it was far more forgettable than the rest of it because it lacked that kind of charm that the first three had. Well, I think it was mildly engaging at the time because it didn't have like the style, the comedy, or like the cast to pull it over. I think it's largely going to sink into the recesses of my mind. I don't know. No stand up on the main cast, really. I'm not a Sandra Bullock fan, to be honest. I don't like in the past weeks when we've been complaining about other women, what's her face? Julia Roberts. To me, Julia Roberts and Sandra Bullock are like one and the
same. Spitting facts over here. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the movie was. I actually thought it was decent. I must admit, like in the first half, I was like, "This is good." Like I don't know what I was thinking the first time. You know, I was enjoying it. I thought, "Oh, this is good." And then I don't know. I definitely enjoyed it less in the second half as it went on. It really lost me. I think as we got into it's weird. Like I feel like we can get into this more, but I feel like this was probably my favorite, like, first act in any of the Ocean's films. And I thought it assembled the team the best of the four. But then once we got into the actual meat of it, it's sort of, there wasn't a lot there that was sticking out. I totally agree with that. And in terms of the main cast, like, I mean, I have to commend the film. Like, the Ocean's franchise is known for having its absolutely stacked casts, and they delivered on that. Like, the cast is stacked, and they're all good. Like, I don't think there's anyone who's letting the team down, and I enjoyed them all. But I agree, there was no one that was like, there was no Matt Damon that was like a standout, like hilarious. There was no like, Brad Pitt.
Rusty.
There was no Rusty Danny back and forth that was like really engaging. Like, obviously Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett are sort of meant to fill those character archetypes. And like it's all good. That's what I'm saying. Like they're all good in the film, and I enjoyed watching them. But they're not like, their camaraderie isn't next level or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. That was a
the sexual tension's kind of mad though.
The sexual tension between those two, you reckon?
Yeah.
I must admit, at one point I did think, wait, am I forgetting the part where they hook up at the end? Like I did sort of think that at one point, but yeah. Fitzy, what did you think of Ocean's 8?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm very excited to talk about this film because this is my new favorite movie, Ocean's 8. Better than Barry Lyndon. No, seriously.
Wait, what? What's
No,
happening?
I'm joking.
You can't do this.
It was that was pretty good actually. I was actually pretty engaged by the crime aspect of it. I think the humor was very miss usually. But sometimes it was actually funny, and I was surprised how I was actually kind of engaged in, the usual like exposition of how they do the crime and how they're going to do the crime and stuff. And I agree. Yeah, I think the exposition is actually really good. Like teaming up, as you said, was actually like entertaining for some reason. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I feel like the way this one assembled the team was, I know, it's sort of what I've been looking for. Like, I feel like everyone clearly has a role. It didn't feel like a jumbled mess of them coming together in terms of like, I don't know who's doing what and why they're here. Like, it was all very clear to me in terms of what everyone's role was, and they all sort of had standout moments as they were being recruited, and it still moved quickly. Like it was nice. Like I sort of, the Indian chick, she had a family and situation, then you move on to Aquafina, and then you move on to like everyone sort of clearly stood out as to where they were and where they come from, and they weren't like just blurring together as generic white dudes or anything like that. So that helped as well. And yeah, I don't know. There were fun scenes with them all. I thought, like, dude, intro me to. I never know how to say her name. Is it Helena Bonham Carter? However you say her name, I don't know.
Is it Bonham or Bowen?
Boham? I don't know. It's always that middle name though that gets me.
Yeah.
I guess we're all too scared to have a go. I don't know, but dude, intro me to her like eating Nutella, crying. Like, yeah, sure, that's fun. I like that. And she's great in the film, of course, because she's always good. Yeah, it has personality in that respect. Yeah,
that's true. And like I feel like everyone has a more defined role because there's less people and they just do it. Like they're not just like actors or something. But
yeah.
As soon as they said she was like Irish, I'm gonna be, oh my god, she's gonna have like a cringe Irish accent, and it was so cringe. Dude. That was so bad.
See, I thought it was pretty good, but I've got no idea. I actually, so she's British, right? She's not.
I think so.
Right. Okay.
Imagine she's
I take it she's not Irish.
And yeah, that's an actual speaking voice, and Liam's just talking shit.
I thought it was possible that was true, but I didn't know. I guess if Liam thought it was cringe, I guess it clearly wasn't then. But yeah.
I mean, it's probably like not a bad accent. I don't know. I think it's cringe when people do like Russian or Irish accents because they're like, I don't know. They're like very exaggerated accents usually.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Well, one thing, it was you, Jane. You mentioned that that you feel like a lot of the style didn't carry over. Is that what you said that, right? I just don't want to get my.
I think I said that. I don't know. I honestly don't like you. When as soon as you mentioned my name and something I said, I was like, shit. What did I say? I do not remember.
Is that how you feel though? Because I wanted to touch on that because my first thoughts were, I mean, the film opens exactly the same way as 11 in terms of her. I mean, her name's Debbie Ocean.
Yeah, but that felt cheap.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so my question coming out of that scene was, I didn't think it the first time because I had no comparison point, but this time I was like, how close is it going to try and imitate the structure and the formula of these of 11 specifically? Because that was so clearly, obviously, an imitation. But I don't know. Like for me, comparing the stylings of both, like I liked the music, I liked the transitions, I liked like all the location establishing shots they do in the gallery. They always do that kind of thing where they have all these shots of where they like, zoom in on the security cameras and do all that sort of stuff that the previous films did. So I sort of thought like visually the film was consistent with the others in a way that worked for me. But how do you feel about that?
I think I really miss like the Gambler Shake kind of style of the cast.
Wait, what?
Like there really is kind of like. That mean? Dirty, kind of like they're like semi-dirty, semi like disheveled kind of look, and I think the score is missing. Like Daniel Pemberton came in to do the score this time, who's great. I love him on his other stuff, but I think it misses that kind of like, that that spicy, jazzy kind of beat.
Oh, okay.
And I think that does a lot to it. Like I think they're like, I think stylistically they are very different films, because like this one's attempting to rob a high class event, and it very much reflects that in its stylings, I feel. Whereas the other ones were obviously, I don't know, yeah. So then, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. They feel grittier and sort of dirtier a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. For me, like, yeah, no, I was enjoying the music, but I see what you mean. Especially, I feel like in the grading as well. Like, it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's because I sort of, again, I don't want to get into the whole thing with where we guess if a film's shot on digital or not, because we're always wrong. But this felt like it was shot on digital. Like it had that sort of vibe to it.
I do think a lot of the color from the original one is probably an age thing of like, just like, I think if you were to take Soderbergh and if he was to remake him these days, I wonder if like he'd color him the same. I think like I'm just trying to think like how much of my comparison is based off of an age thing and like a nostalgia thing of like, would I have liked that as much if it was applied today? So like,
Yeah. I see that, and then maybe I don't know. Maybe that age idea comes into play for me with some of the editing choices, because I remember saying like I did not like the transitions in 11 at all. That just felt super weird to me. But I don't know, in this movie they worked for me. I don't know why. Like maybe it was just there was something to the flow of it that felt a bit more modern to me that made them fit in. I don't know what it was, but like in this film I feel like they were applied better for me anyway. I don't know, it was kind of weird. How'd you feel about the stylings of it all, Fitzy?
I don't know. It felt like a watered down kind of, modern pop version of.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah. I see that.
Kind of the originals. But I do agree with Jane. Like it's very like they show Manhattan as a kind of establishing shot, and it's very like New York kind of film. So it's not it's not as cool as like Vegas is. Not as sus as Vegas is.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
They needed a mafia aspect, like Jaws, to kind of really tie over that.
Like gonna be a new like criticism. Didn't have a mafia.
Didn't have a gangster subplot.
Yeah.
Oh, it really should have. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, a modern pop version. That's funny. I feel like it's like a Rihanna version of the original films. Would you say that?
Yeah. Although I don't know if that's like airing too close to like Rihanna slander. Because like Rihanna's good.
Oh yeah. I like Rihanna a lot. Oh, boo, Jane. No,
she's alright.
How'd you feel about her in the movie though?
I think she's better in Battleship than she is here. But I think that's because I like Battleship more, maybe.
Okay.
I liked her sister. Her sister was fun for like those 1 minute that she was there. But Rihanna herself felt like, I don't know, a bit too vanilla hacker. It's like, oh, let me prove that I'm in your footprint by hacking your.
Oh yeah, that shit's so dumb. I hate that shit in movies where it's like we hack the lights, dude. Like turn off the lights. Nah, that shit's dumb. Yeah. How'd you feel about her, Fitzy? And I think you were going to say something else about her as well that I interrupted.
Oh, I think she's okay in the movie. But I was gonna say like about her, like I think she's better than Beyonce. Like I think that the Beyonce, like people compare them, right? Beyonce and Rihanna, because like
do they? Okay.
I feel like do they? I don't know. But she's in some Kanye songs, so she has to be better than Beyonce.
Okay.
She's in Famous, I think, and some other ones. Yeah.
Isn't she the chick in All the Lights? I don't know. Is that the name of the song?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
She's also in that one with John Lennon. Not John Lennon. The other Paul McCartney.
Oh, 4 5 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She has actual good songs, and I think Umbrella is a good song.
Oh, I love Umbrella. That song's a banger, dude.
Yeah, Umbrella.
I love that other one. That what's the one she did with Jay-Z? I like that one. I don't know what it's called. I think it's like super mainstream. I don't know what it is though. But
Umbrella?
No. Another one. I don't know. I think it's on a Jay-Z album. Anyway, how did this happen? I'm sorry. I feel like for a second I'm like, I can talk about music for somehow, and I did it terribly. But anyway, Oh, Rihanna, I don't know. She was. I feel like we were skating the limits of her acting ability, but we were okay. You know, like I wouldn't. It was a generic character, hacker character that she brought some personality to, and I thought she did a very, very fine job of it. So yeah, I was happy with that. But yeah, no, another main. I mean, speaking of the cast, Jane's already brought up some Sandra Bullock thoughts, but I had some thoughts too, and I was thinking like, have we ever reviewed a Sandra Bullock performance on this show? Because I don't think so. I don't think she's ever come up. I don't think she's ever really in things that I watch, to be honest. And that's had me thinking like how I was trying to reflect on how I actually feel about her. And what else? I've seen her in Bird Box, which is like, I don't know. It's fine.
I liked her a little bit in Bullet Train, I'm going to be honest.
See, I hated that. Okay. Interesting.
But then, like, everything else, like Speed, The Proposal, Miss Congeniality. Actually, Miss Congeniality, I'll give a pass to. Blindside sucks ass.
Okay. Yeah, the Julia Roberts comparison is interesting because it does feel like she's, I don't know, like sort of just, how do you say? I don't know. She's like generic lead female actress, right?
Oh, she was in Gravity, the most nothing movie of all time, dude. That's crazy.
Oh, I forgot she was in that. Okay.
With George Clooney.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's right. George Clooney's in the first 5 minutes of that movie. You remember that?
No, I don't remember anything about the movie.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I remember the ending, I guess. Well, that she spins around in space. You know?
Yeah, it's like Interstellar, but
yeah, I was gonna say
not as good. yeah. Sorry. So I guess I find Sandra Bullock overall, from what I've seen, generic and forgettable. And she didn't blow me away in this, but I liked her in this. Like her character had more personality than I expected going into it, and I thought she had some charm and some wit about her in terms of like when she's talking to some of the other characters, and she's always like one step ahead on the plan of the heist, you know, the whole time. And every time someone questions it, she's got like a smart ass answer. I thought it was pretty entertaining overall. So I was with you know her filling that protagonist void in this movie. I was fairly satisfied with it, to be honest. More so than I would have thought.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think she was actually pretty good as the leader of the group.
Yeah, exactly. She worked as that, I thought. And I guess Cate Blanchett was just doing her accent, her like regular Aussie accent.
That's slightly faded from years in America.
Right, so that's what you thought it was. It was like, it was her just speaking. Because I was trying to figure out, it wasn't an American accent, but there was definitely some, it wasn't quite full Australian either.
No,
yeah, it was in between, I think.
Right, but I guess that's just how she probably speaks now. Interesting, yeah.
I mean, she lives down here, doesn't she?
Don't know. I actually don't know.
Yeah, isn't she the one that sent like a kid to Geelong College or something?
Yeah, to grammar, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure her kids go to grammar.
Oh, her kids go to grammar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe she just sent her kids to grammar so she doesn't have to deal with them and she can live in LA. I don't know.
Good point.
Possibly. I don't know. But yeah, no, Cate Blanchett's always good. And I feel like her characters are always different, and this was a different character from her, so I like that. Who the hell else was there? We can do it. James Corden can have his own segment, but I'm definitely skipping on the big name, right? Yeah, go.
I don't understand the hate behind James Corden. I'll admit, I'm not as much of a fan. I'm not a massive fan, but like, I really like James Corden in his 2 Doctor Who episodes. I thought he was good here. I think his talk show is cringe. I will say that, but I don't understand why the world hates him so much. Like, where did he pull all that hate from? You know, I mean, back in the UK when he was on Gavin and Stacey, everyone loved him. Like, I don't know where this hate's come from.
Oh, we can do it now. I didn't hate him either, to be clear. I didn't hate him. He just took me out of the movie. I found him distracting. Like, every time, I couldn't take him seriously as his character. Which, I mean, I know it's meant to be like a silly cameo. I get that, but I don't know. Like, he was never funny enough for me to like buy into how silly it was that he was in the movie. You know, it was sort of just like I was meant to take him a bit too seriously, and it was sort of distracting. I would have just gone for someone else, you know. But no, I didn't think he did a bad job or anything. I was just sort of, I just wouldn't have cast him. I thought it was kind of weird. That's all.
Fair. Oh no, I wouldn't cast him in anything at all. No, I wouldn't fucking touch him. But like, I just don't understand like the kind of universal hate that he gets.
Is he actually like? I didn't even know that, to be honest. Oh, okay.
Damn, I thought it was going to be the controversial one. No, he's actually really good in this, I thought. And I think he's a good actor for, like, I'll always think James Gunn's a good actor for his role in All or Nothing, which is like a Mark Lee film where he plays like a teenager who's like, has a heart disease, he's like really fat and like,
Wait, hang on, was he a teenager at the time or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, like, but James Corden now plays a teenager. I was like,
yeah, that was actually like a really great performance. So, and these are like the two things I've seen from him, and he's good in both. So I won't watch all the other cameos. You know, he's in 10 other movies, I think, with like cameos. You know,
yeah.
But it was actually pretty funny. Like the one moment I remember laughing at the film is where he was like in the dude's house, who's like Sandra Bullock's ex-boyfriend. And he's like, you've got everything. Like, he's like, why would you do this? You've got everything.
Oh, and these two.
Like, you got two of these things. That was hilarious. Good. Like, I lol. That was good.
You know what? That was funny, and I hate being a dick about it, but like, I would have rewritten it. Like, I think he can make that funnier. Like, if he'd stopped and went like, you've got everything. And you've even got even two of whatever these are, you know, like it was sort of a bit almost too quick, but I don't know, it was being stupid. It was funny. I thought that was clever, but yeah.
Wow, fantastic rewrite there, Zach.
Thank you so much, David. You know what I just did? I MCU'd that line. That's what I just did. They should hire me, yeah, for all their humour. Everyone would love that, of course. I think the main big name I was blanking on earlier must be Anne Hathaway, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, yes.
I think that's who it must be, and I enjoyed her in the movie. I mean, Anne Hathaway's great, but like her playing this sort of meta, it's the idea that she's being a famous actress was fun, and like it was like playing with the expectation of like she's playing some sort of, you know, someone in her position, but I assume a very extreme personality as well, who I assume she probably isn't actually like that, you know what I mean? So it was like this, it almost felt like a character of herself in some way, which was fun. Or of someone in her sort of famous, of her notoriety, I guess. And how she deals with like all the publicity and shit. I thought it was sort of cool. But I thought, for some reason, my recollection of the film was that she was in on the plan the whole time. But she was just brought in later, which wasn't as clever as I remember it being. Like I was waiting for the twist. I remembered it that way, where she's been on it since the start, but I wasn't in at all. I don't know.
That's the one thing that I was like spoiled about the movie, because I think, I mean, I probably watched it like from an aeroplane screen, someone else's screen on an airplane, but she like comes back.
But she ends up in the crew with the rest of them. Yeah,
I thought she was always part of it. Like my outward interpretation of going into the film, I thought Anne Hathaway was part of the main crew.
Right. Yeah,
yeah. Like obviously the first half of the film then throws me off that, so I'm like, oh, I was wrong, but then I was right.
And then she comes into it because she's lonely. Yeah. How much of a dickhead is? I'm sorry, I just want to say, how much of a dickhead is David Armitage for allowing himself to be handcuffed, dude? I'm just saying. Come on now.
You wouldn't be handcuffed by Anne Hathaway,
dude. Yeah, probably. Actually, you're probably right. Liam, please continue.
Yeah. Wait. So the one surprise for me was that Danny Ocean. I thought Danny Ocean would definitely turn up at the end, because I feel like it's such a. I feel like it's such a heist movie like moment for like, you know, the fake out death kind of thing. And like, because he's like, you know, the most important character of the series, I thought he would definitely, you know, he's actually, the fact that he was actually dead and they played that as like an emotional beat at the end was like, it got me, because I didn't expect it, you know, because like I was sure that he'd turn up at the end.
I thought I'd always heard around this movie that Danny Ocean turns up at the end. that he wasn't dead.
Yeah, dude, the Mandela effect. This is the Mandela effect right there.
I guess that killing him is the only way to stop fans from asking him to be put into the next one, which is the point of these films, is to not have him there, to have a female forward, like, you know, kind of cast and like,
I guess, yeah.
right.
Yeah. I think everyone thinks that Danny Ocean's at the end of it because he should have been. I don't know. Like, was the last scene? It's weird. I thought it was super weird. Like, I thought for sure it was going to be a situation where he faked his own death. Like, I feel like the scene was perfectly set up for it.
Yeah, it was.
And she even starts like pouring the drink, and he's like going to come in and sit next to her or something. Like, it was so weird. It was almost like they shot it that way and then just cut. Like, it was
like it's actually so bewildering. Like that didn't happen.
It's bizarre. And they even say earlier in the film, like, it's the 100%. Like, there's no reason for her to go back there because she goes there at the start. They establish that would be the perfect thing to do. They establish that he's dead. In the middle of the film, she has a line. Doesn't Aquafina say, like, "Are you sure he's dead?" And she's like, "No, I'm not sure."
And the other thing is that Ruben, was it Ruben that comes in?
Yeah. Asshole Ruben.
And I feel like she says, like, "What did they say? What did he say?" or some shit. I feel like she's implying that he, like, is, you know, directing things behind the scenes, and it's like, there's so many things pointing towards it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So he obviously had an opinion on the heist before he died, I guess. But yeah, like they say that, you'd think, oh, I totally agree. Like, planting all the seeds in the world that he's going to turn up at the end, and then he just it feels like a troll or something. It was super weird.
Yeah.
It made perfect sense.
Maybe he was, but he just, like, couldn't. That George Clooney couldn't. It's crazy.
That's so weird. God damn. But speaking of cameos, so we had Ruben, clearly not George Clooney, but Matt Damon and Carl Rayner were set to reprise their respective roles as Linus and Saul, but their scenes were cut. So that they shot scenes for this film. Huge bummer we didn't get Linus, dude. That probably would have made it for me, to be honest.
Well,
Really
I think it's better they didn't, because I think even Chen being there, you know, God knows I love him, but, like, I think him being there, like, you know, waters down the whole point of the film of, you know, of ditching the past, and, you know,
interesting.
the fact that, you know, they use him as a cop out to finish off that robbery, you know, when they could have just got a new person to fill that same role or something, you know, like, you know, I like a callback. I like Chen, but, like, it just feels like it undermines the point of the film.
Yeah, even if you had, like, someone new sort of honouring that spot or something, and they do something
Like the
slightly different with it. Yeah, exactly, 100%. Yeah,
should have been Chen's daughter. That should have been
it. Chen's sister. Like, it's like Daddy and Debbie, Chen's sister Chin or something. Like,
oh, you can't do that one.
Can I not? It's just a slight variation of the name.
I get where you're coming from because of the Danny and Debbie thing, but, you know,
I even deliberately set it up, made the comparison first, so I didn't sound racist when I said it.
If Andy was here, you might be able to get away with it, but, you know.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we don't have the ambassador yet.
Yeah. If Andy were here, he would have laughed at it, and then that would have been totally acceptable. I might actually insert Andy laughing from another episode.
Yeah, should, just to be safe.
We just need him on call just for, like, whenever we, you know, might go over the line, you know.
100%. Yeah. And he just gives us, like, he's in the call the whole time, and he turns on his camera and just gives us, like, the thumbs down, the approval or disapproval. Oh, man. Okay. So, like, I guess, I mean, speaking on that, where Chen comes in at the end and he steals more stuff for them, like, for me, that's sort of where the movie just doesn't work. Like, it's kind of, it doesn't help that I feel like the actual real-time execution of the heist sequence in terms of everything with Anne Hathaway running to the toilet and the blind spot on the camera and the necklace being taken off her neck, like, everything there, which is, like, meant to be the film's version of the main heist sequence, I just thought it was underwhelming and sort of not extravagant, not very interesting. It's certainly lacking when you compare it to 11 in terms of, like, intricacies, in terms of the technology, and as over the top as it always was, like infiltrating the vault and having all these different people having to, you know, coordinate all these different roles. There was coordination for sure, but at the end of the day, it really just sort of felt like a pickpocket attempt of getting someone to go to the bathroom and then stealing it from their neck. Like, it's not that exciting. And then when you can make the argument that it does get more interesting, but I find it lame that as it sort of does get taken up a notch, we're only told about that after the fact. I don't really enjoy, just getting told about all the extra effort they went to steal the other stuff, and there was always more to the operation that we just didn't know about, but we're only just like shown it afterwards. It's like, oh, okay, it sort of kills the cool factor. I would have appreciated like this being integrated into the plan from the start and seeing it all unfold in real time. It was sort of just like it felt like the movie was over, and then they were just sort of telling me about how cool the parts of the movie were I never saw. It was like, oh, okay. Sort of underwhelming. I think that's why overall the third act didn't really work for me, I think.
I wonder if that's a direction thing or if it's a time thing, because I think if Steven had done it, I think that would have been included. But I'm also like, have movies changed since so significantly? In that 10 years that he would have had to structure it differently.
Do you mean done it in terms of done the same, like shown you after the fact thing?
No, like that he would have incorporated it into like the main kind of sequencing.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what I think. Like, if someone else was at the helm, I think they would have cast someone as a replacement Chen, and then integrated it into the plan rather than having it as a callback and a kind of gotcha moment.
Oh yeah, like an extra thing.
Yeah, for sure. But isn't that sort of the entirety of Ocean's 12? Like, isn't the entirety of Ocean 12's plot like a gotcha thing?
Yeah,
like nothing really happens in real time in that movie. Sorry?
It's funny though, and it's clever, and it works.
Yeah, I feel like if you're comparing this to like 12, like nothing. Yeah, as you said, like nothing simple and real like happens real time in 12. Like in this, is at least it's kind of like there's no abstraction. It's very easy to like follow, like the actual stealing. Yeah, I thought the sequence was like actually okay. The stealing sequence, but after like the extra bit is a bit weird, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my god, favorite moment of the movie, Zach. Come on, Michael Gandolfini.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was so happy. Yeah.
Plays busboy.
Number 2.
What does busboy mean, by the way? Because how's he a busboy? He's a waiter.
Yeah, it's just another word for waiting.
Oh, is it?
Well, busboys usually can't like serve alcohol, I think, because they're usually under 18.
Oh, right.
Usually
but busboy is
dishes.
just a type of waiter, yeah, isn't it?
What's that?
A busboy is just a waiter, isn't it?
Not always, because I know in Australia it's not. I know in like when I went to the pub, it was like when you're a busboy, if you like just do the dishes and like carry the plates around and stuff, but you can't serve.
So prior to this definition switch, would you have considered yourself a busboy, Jaden?
Me? God, no.
No?
Oh yeah, okay, I see. A young man who clears tables in a restaurant or cafe. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
You see, I did that at one point, but me now, I'm more dignified.
High class.
I'm not clearing tables anymore.
You're a waiter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was cool to see him for sure. I don't know if this was like his breakout film role or something, but it's a nice surprise, 100%. Well, I mean, it's one of those perfect examples of going back to a film and having like recognizing someone you definitely wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together the first time,
Yeah.
because you've seen them in something since or whatever.
True.
I got some more trivia. Oh, Jaden sort of already alluded to this, but I mean, it's so obvious, but I didn't even think of it. The numbering of the movie Ocean's 8 allows for a trilogy. Ocean's 8, 9, and 10, which would perfectly line up with 11, 12, and 13 to, you know what I mean? So what's the deal with that? I guess we're not... Is that happening? I've never heard anything about a sequel to this, and I don't know of it. But
no, I haven't heard anything either.
But I looked, and this movie was profitable. Like, it wasn't a bomb or anything, so I don't really understand what happened there. It's sort of weird.
It might just be hard to like keep the cast together.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Because it's so big, like Rihanna's so big,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Rihanna hasn't been producing music for like the past fucking 7 years, or how long it's been since she released an album. So I mean, she's not busy.
She's now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of people in this, and a ton of people that have gotten bigger since as well. Like Aquafina's a big deal now, you know.
Yeah, and then Sarah Paulson, is that her name?
Yeah,
She's in like Conjuring.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah.
She's actually really good. I think she's probably like my favorite of the cast.
I totally forgot about her. Yeah, she's good. Wasn't she the? Is that her name? She was the Wonder Woman villain, right? I'm not getting my people mixed up.
Oh, yeah. I think she was.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh no,
No?
No?
are you talking, about
No, you're wrong.
1984?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
No, that's a comedic actress. She's in
Kristen, isn't it?
Oh, Kristen Wiig. Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because you said her, and like in my mind she just appears so clearly, and I was like, yeah.
yeah. The whole time I was so convinced that I was right. Okay, wow, that's funny. Damn. So wait, hang on. So what have I seen this Sarah Paulson in then?
I feel like she's in plenty. I don't know.
Yeah, she was in Glass. She's in Glass.
Ah, yep.
As the
Oh yeah,
therapist.
yeah. That's right.
Oh, she was in Bird Box as well. She was in apparently. She was in 12 Years a Slave. She was in oh, that's right. She was in 12
she's
Years
the
a
wife who
Slave.
tried 12
Yeah.
Years a Slave.
There you go.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Oh, she's got a career then. Good for her. That's good.
I think she does some TV as well.
Oh, it could be.
Was anyone taking any notes as we saw Sandra Bullock's tactics at the start in regards to stealing perfume and getting a hotel room? I was taking notes personally. I thought it was great.
That was good. That was a good little trick.
How many people walked out of the
American
theatre
Horror
going,
Story is the main thing.
that's a great idea? Oh, okay. Isn't that an anthology series?
Yeah, but like they do like they keep the same cast across seasons quite often, I think.
Oh,
So she's in like all of them from 2011 to 2021.
Oh, shit. That's a lot.
Oh, yeah. American Horror Story is pretty good. I've only seen a bit of it, but the first season's pretty okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I feel like that was good. I feel like we covered everything quite well and everything. I don't know. Like the film was super digestible. Don't regret watching it all. Does a lot quite well, and I don't know. I'm never going to remember it well, but yeah, I don't know. There's fun stuff about it. Yeah.
I guess the only thing is that I also like the I can't remember what song they use, like what classical music they use, but they have like an equivalent of like the fountain scene, in that they use like classical music when they're like walking down the stairs, whatever, out of the Met Gala.
Oh, in their dresses, yeah.
It was like the style was completely, the musical style was like completely consistent with the rest of the film, in that it was like a watered down like pop version of like a classical song, and like it worked like really well, but I can't remember what the song was. But it was pretty high. It feels pretty good. Yeah.
I can't remember either. Sorry, and I watched it 2 hours ago. The it's fading. Yeah, this movie's already fading, but it's not in a terrible way though. But yeah. All right, let's get to our final verdicts for Ocean's 8. Jaden.
I think it's a 5. I think it's a strong 5 though. Like I don't think it's worth a watch, but like I don't think it's a bad film. I just think it is just, like we've said, just slipped from your mind quickly.
Yeah.
It probably is on par with like the first Ocean's film for me personally, but like I think the first Ocean's film is a lot more enjoyable to watch, but probably not in quality. So I guess like that's kind of where like the difference emerges. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll give it a 6. I definitely enjoyed it more this time, and I feel like overall, like it stands up as very much having a place in this series, which I think is sort of the best you can say about it. It's sort of all it really had to do. Like it doesn't feel like the ugly stepchild, or just an abomination of an attempt of a reboot or anything. It's not that at all. Like it feels like it fits in. It knew what it was going for and did it competently. So yeah, no, I thought it was all right. Fitzy.
I mean, I've been like talking about the positive things because I feel like there is like a whole like element of the film that is pretty like uncharming and unfunny, which I think I mentioned like once. but like that is like a major factor, especially in like the Ocean's films. So it is a 5, but it was still like an engaging movie just because of I don't know. I think it runs fast, and I think the actual heist is okay. Yeah, the crime element is okay. Yeah.
Sure. What it lacks in charm, it makes up for in being able to follow the plot.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, that's the main part.
Yeah. I think that's really fair. All right, let's get into a load of news chat. Where do we jump in? I feel like I can spin the wheel, I mean, we usually leave trailers to last, so let's do that. We can go to DC. We can go to probably the biggest story of the week for the industry. We got everything happening with DC Studios. So let me try and sort of summarize it. I'll attempt to. I've got the IGN article here to help me. But essentially, Warner Brothers Discovery.
IGNs.
Our friends at IGN. Damon Hatfield's here on my screen. I love him. He's my BFF. He knows me well as Sir Kaz. So, WB Discovery, they've made some moves with their DC branch, which have sort of been long in the making. There's been, everyone knows the conversation around the DCEU and it, subjectively being a disaster for years and all this sort of stuff, and all the leadership stuff with Batgirl and the Flash and all that sort of shit that's going down production wise. But what they've done this week is that they've rebranded. They've rebranded to DC Studios. Definitely don't know where they got that idea from. And they've appointed new co-CEOs of DC Studios, being James Gunn, as well as Peter Safran. Peter Safran is a producer in Hollywood. I think he's partnered with James Gunn a lot. He's like a producer. He was a producer for Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and so he's a partner with James a lot and does a lot of other produces a bunch of other superhero films and shit. So he knows what he's doing. And but obviously James Gunn is sort of the big noteworthy thing here, because my main thing was it was wild to see someone who's incredibly well known as a filmmaker, incredibly well known in DC and in superhero in the genre these days, but to see him sort of go from just being a filmmaker and a writer to taking on a CEO role and becoming what is essentially, the Kevin Feige of DC. So I'll just read this paragraph here of what this means, really. So according to the report, Gunn will focus on the creative side of the studio, while Safran will handle the business and production elements, which makes sense. Gunn will also continue to direct projects exclusively for DC, while Safran will keep producing. So you can assume Gunn he'll be moving forward with Peacemaker season 2 and all that sort of stuff. He'll continue to do. But yeah, so this makes them, just to summarize, this makes them basically the boss of DC film, TV, and animation. Apologies if that was long-winded, but I feel like I got the gist of it there. Jaden, any thoughts, any feelings that you have when you first saw this headline?
I don't like that James Gunn is now going to be the fall guy for WB. Because that's all he really is going to be. Like, if something goes wrong, they're just going to put it on him. If something goes great, then they'll claim individual credit to whoever they feel deserves it. I think Gunn is definitely suited for the role in kind of planning and situating this kind of greater vision. I think it's interesting because I think that I think it's so interesting to see the continual shift of the DC EU from like its kind of dark, gritty Snyder tones to having to let up to allow some of that Marvel kind of isms into it, in your Shazams and whatnot. And now having James Gunn as head, I wonder how significant of a shift it will be, because Gunn is obviously known for his more comedic products. I don't think we're going to see the Marvelarization of DC, but I think that Gunn as a creative is someone who will respect other creatives enough to let them have their own vision. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't know much about the other guy, so I can't really speak to him. But he kind of seems... I think Gunn's just more of a public figure, and I reckon the other guy will probably be running more of it. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's sort of, if Gunn's going to focus on the creative. I mean, I agree. I feel like you can at least expect consistency from him now. Like, you're totally right with the tone of the DCEU being all over the place for years, or evolving for years, I guess you could say, put it nicely. but not just that though. Like, you know, in the past 5 years, we've seen not just the tone of the universe evolve, but we've seen the continued, you know, decision to make other projects outside of the universe. Like there was a time where it was like, does the DCEU even exist anymore? Like, you know, with things like the Batman and Joker just not even taking place inside of it. Like there was sort of a question of what role does that universe even have anymore, you know? So I'm interested to see like how, not only how the universe is going to change tonally, but much how much of the products down the pipeline are going to even continue to take place in it, whether they'll sort of refocus on it again, whether they'll try and build to something more in it again, or whether they'll stick with some standalone stuff as well. I don't know. How do you feel, Fitzy?
Yeah, I think it's probably good. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because I think the Suicide Squad was like the most solid, like, kind of success of DC, and I hope they make kind of more of that kind of thing. I don't think it was like the Suicide Squad in like literal rating is probably higher than higher age limit than others. I think like the Snyder films, sure, they're like they're literally dark, as in they are yeah, they're visually dark, but I think the newer films actually have like darker subject matter and are like more serious kind of films and better films. So, yeah, it's actually kind of good, kind of exciting. I guess we got like more Guardians or like Suicide Squad kind of things. That'd be nice.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I think it'd be,
yeah,
sorry.
you're right. Yeah,
No,
go for it. No, go for it.
I just think it'd be interesting to see where animated like stuff heads now, because obviously he's got control of that as well. But the animated universe has always been very solid. There's some misses, obviously, but like just talking about like that kind of like the more mature tone that movies of like the DC have taken recently. I just think of like the animated films have always been the most mature films and still are in kind of DC continuity. Like the Suicide Squad animated film, How to Pay from 2018. Like it's got fucking nudity and it's got like like it's got violence galore and like it's very gory and like. So I wonder like if we'll see like I don't know a change in the animated stuff as well, or if they'll just like let that continue to be that, because I don't know. I think that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like if you think about the DC as a whole, it's like they were trying to recreate the Dark Knight in terms of like the brooding tone, and then they were trying to recreate the MCU in terms of the character, collection. And now they're just kind of like, we'll do our own thing. We'll kind of make these like cool, like Suicide Squad like ensemble type films. At least I think that's like what they're like, how their philosophy is kind of shifted.
Yeah, totally. Because it felt like for a long time they were chasing, they were copying. Yeah. They weren't leading in any capacity. And I feel like in recent years their attempt to do that was to make more standalone things, whether in the universe or not. Like things that don't necessarily like have a 5-year plan to build to a team up movie. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like Shazam. Like Shazam was really good.
Exactly. And Shazam and Suicide Squad both in the universe don't very standalone, but then the Batman, of course, completely out of the universe, completely standalone. So I'm just curious to see how that strategy will evolve as well. Yeah. I guess sort of coinciding with this may as well. Spoilers for everyone. I don't know. Is it even? Can you even put a spoiler mark on it? Because everyone knows. But Henry Cavill's back as Superman. He's in Black Adam. Yeah, it's been since 2017's Justice League disaster, I think, right? Since he's been involved in the character at all. So I mean,
he's been flirting with the press for years about, oh yeah, I'll come back. Oh yeah, no, we're definitely going back. Oh yeah, the producers talked to him about this, and oh yeah, I'll go back. Like, I feel like this isn't new news, is it?
I could be. It is 100%. I could be wrong because everyone's freaking out. I think what you're thinking of, Jan, is I think like everyone, like the fans willed that into existence. Like the fans like wanted it so bad that they just kept like sort of making it up, and everyone kept like asking him and shit. But nothing was ever like, oh yeah, we're doing it. It's happening. We're here. We're shooting. I could be wrong. That's been sort of my interpretation of it. Because otherwise I don't know why this is news. But I mean, there is reports of, and it makes perfect sense, of course, that there's a Superman film in the works with Henry Cavill. So that's going to be part of whatever this new direction, this new strategy is, which is cool. People are like that. My main question is like people are calling it like Man of Steel 2 just because logically, like Man of Steel was the first one, and then we're getting a sequel. But I would expect this to not have Man of Steel in the title, not be like Man of Steel.
Is Zaddy directing it or not?
No info on that. I would presume not.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be different. I reckon it'll be an adaptation of a different story. I don't think it'll be Man of Steel at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'd expect it just because it is Henry to keep consistency. I'd expect it's in that universe technically, but it's like it's like the Suicide Squad situation where it's like, yeah, sure, it's in the same universe as the first one, but it's just its own story, its own Superman story with Henry.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be good. What happened to the black?
Sure.
When were we talking about like a black Superman that was coming?
Yes, and I was reading about that this week as part of this was the fact that that was what the previous CEO was pushing for that. And now that with this leadership change, that's what sort of got Henry back in, and they've changed direction again.
Well, that's not happening. No.
I also saw a story from this week. I'm not sure if it was pre or I think it was before the gun thing was announced, that the axing of Batgirl was the start of the kind of cutting of products, and that like they expected to cut like another $2 billion worth of products from the Q3 lineup.
It's like the Godfather, end of the Godfather, just killing all the family.
So like, I wonder if that Black Superman film is part of that plan to just remove it.
Yeah, I see. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know how far along that ever was. That's the thing. But yeah, that's a good point. It's like, yeah, is there a world where Batgirl comes back? I don't know. I don't think so. But I guess crazier things have happened. The Snyder Cut happened,
Mm.
Very, very good. Let's quickly talk about this new Star Wars movie, Jan. I don't know how much you know. I just want to throw everything out there and get your take. So it was reported this week that everyone knows the Star Wars film scene is a mess. But what the film that's expected now to fill the December 2025 slot. Keep in mind, everyone, Rogue Squadron was meant to be coming out in 2 months. And that film never happened. It was and they still claim it's happening, but it's clearly not. So the film that's now expected to take the 2025 slot is this new Star Wars project, which is written by Damon Lindelof, known for creating Lost, creating Watchmen, and I think was it The Leftovers as well.
Yeah,
that was I want to watch that. I've heard good things about that. But Watchmen is, I think, our main touchstone to him as a writer. So, I mean, super interesting. This had been rumored for a while because I was reading. I frequent some like really nerdy Star Wars sites, and there was like reports that Damon Lindelof has been spotted on the Disney lot, and like people were talking about that for months. But anyway, so he's writing a Star Wars movie. So that's crazy. So we got the director of. To be clear, Miss Marvel, this lady who directed 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, she's not like the director of Miss Marvel, but she directed 2 episodes. Her name's Charmaine Obaid Chinoy, and I completely butchered that. She's going to be directing this film. So those are the 2. Lindelof, Star Wars, that's interesting for sure. He definitely feels like he has a unique sort of position as a writer, like he has his own sort of stylings of what he goes for and what he's interested in, it seems. But outside of that, the 2 other main points that are interesting is the fact that there was apparently a big writer's room in is there a goddamn hurricane happening? What's going on?
Is that?
Yeah, that's me. There's.
Oh, does it rain?
Yeah, it's like really.
Oh shit!
Right, pouring down.
We're gonna cop that in about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Can't wait for it to come and interrupt my audio too. I was so confused. There was a writer's room back in June, apparently, which involved about 10 people to come up with the story for this film, and Dave Filoni was in the room, which I find very interesting. So apparently what happened is they had 10 writers, producers, they were just brainstorming, figuring out what the story was going to be. Apparently whatever it's going to be, they figured it out as a group, and then now Lindelof is going off to try and write it, basically. And from that discussion, from that writers' meeting, was apparently reported that the story, all we know is that the story will take place after the Rise of Skywalker, which is interesting. So yeah, anyway, I just threw all that out there. Any feelings, Jaden?
Well, Lindelof's products in the past have been very localized. You know, Watchmen set in one town. Leftovers, I'm pretty sure, is, you know, very centric on one location, and Lost is obviously set on an island. So, like, I wonder if this is going to be a super tight, kind of intimate kind of thing, or if he's expanding for the sake of Star Wars. I trust him a lot, considering I've only seen one of his products, which is Watchmen, but that show is phenomenal. So I would trust him with this entirely. I think he's got a lot of quirks and absurdities that come through in that Watchmen script, and I hope we see some of that in the Star Wars thing that he produces. I was having a quick look at the director. Other than Miss Marvel, her things, I think, were all foreign, and like kind of documentary based and kind of informative. So it'll be interesting to see what she kind of does as well. But I don't know, it could be an interesting pairing, I guess. But I'm definitely keen forward to see what Damon kind of does with the world.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it struck me as well, was an odd pairing of writer and director, which is cool. That's totally cool. Yeah, it's interesting. The point you bring up about it being more contained or grand or whatever, like that debate, is interesting. I don't know. I see it after the Rise of Skywalker. I feel like he's noteworthy because I think that's cool. Like, as much as I love all the Star Wars media we're getting now, I must admit, like, there's only so much of like filling in stories in between things that I can sort of take, you know, like I'm getting sick of that. So the fact that let's move on, let's push forward. Like, I'm down with that. And especially if it's something like, it's not like the next grand adventure of the galaxy, you know what I mean? 30 years, it's not like episode 10. Like, I don't want that, you know? It's like after the Rise of Skywalker, the galaxy can evolve, like the world building can evolve in a new way. But it's the story itself can be smaller as well. Like, I think that all those ideas are all great. Yeah.
Well, I've seen people complaining, like, in recent few weeks about, like, Disney's lack of, you know, investment in the sequel trilogy. And, like, you know, there is nothing there apart from The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, I guess, as well. But, like, yeah, like, there is, like that sequel trilogy isn't getting the treatment of, you know, your Clone Wars, your Rebels, and all this other shit in between. Granted, it's only 3 years old at this point, I guess. So, like, there's still time to get into it. 100%. But this could be, like, the start of getting into that, I guess. So, yeah, cool.
Yeah, exactly. It was brought up, and I don't know if this was, like, an actual report or whether this was conjecture from the reporter, because I think they've read the fact it takes place after the Rise of Skywalker and then added, so that could open the door for sequel trilogy characters to return, you know, like, obviously.
Well, Oscar Isaac recently said that he is ready to return as Poe if needed. Yeah, he's like, because, like, you know, for a long time he was like, you know, he was kind of against the character because he was a bit pissed off about what they did to him. So, like, but I think he recently said, like, oh yeah, I've come to terms with it. You know, I'm ready to return.
Yeah, I always think, from what I've read and seen in interviews of him, like, I think a lot of them felt a bit burnt by the end. But like, he was a big fan. Like, he loved the Poe comics and stuff. Like, he was really into it at a time. So, like, I'm sure it wasn't ever like this was only ever just a gig for him, you know. So no, I mean, I don't know whether it happens here or in 20 years. Like, it could very well happen anywhere in between. But I see all three of those sequel leads coming back at various points. Maybe not all at the same time, but I think it happens.
Well, John Boyega was another one that was very public about his comments about saying, I'm not going to return to Poe because of what they did. I'm not going to return to Finn because, you know, I was absolutely shafted. But I think he did a U-turn as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. I think Daisy's the only one that I haven't really seen anything about, but to be fair, like, I hardly see anything about her at all. I don't know. She feels like a very quiet kind of celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah. For her especially, like, I can just see it in my mind's eye, like a Ray Disney Plus series in 15 years. I can see it, you know, and everyone will probably love it at the time, or like be excited for it at the time. I don't know if it'll be good, obviously, but
that's
15 years, man. That's fucking far away.
Well, that's, I know. Yeah.
We'll be in our mid-30s. That's disgusting to think about.
Just don't. Oh my god.
That's
Yeah.
probably like the fact that Daisy really doesn't get much media. It's probably like a British versus American media thing. Like the British actors get less attention just because they're not like able to be focused as much by the American.
Well, John's British and
media.
he's got his fair share of
Oh, is he? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
He's also. But do you feel like that comes from him being in more stuff though, like him doing publicity tours and the like?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think that because Daisy doesn't have a social media presence is the other thing, which is very difficult these days because social media is king. So in her not kind of having that interaction, I guess, is where she falls behind in terms of numbers of popularity and whatnot. I think she still does some
Makes
stuff
sense.
though, like she's in The Bubble, which was that.
Was she in that?
Yeah, she's got a little bit of a cameo in that.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was happy to see that, but yeah.
I recently saw her. She was in 12 Minutes. I don't know what the correct.
Oh
word is.
yeah, right.
She was in 12 Minutes. Yeah,
Played with her.
Played with. Oh man, god damn it! All right, let's get to trailers quick. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp. Jane, what did you think of this one?
You got Ant-Man Quantumania.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yes, you're right. That movie came out years ago. So.
I don't know. It was kind of shit. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I like Paul Rudd. I love Catherine Newton, but like this trailer didn't do much for me. This whole miniverse thing, the CGI in it wasn't overly appealing. But I guess we'll see. I think Kang being like, I think this is gonna be like the main introduction of Kang to the thing. So
sure.
I think that'd definitely be worth it. And if Paul Rudd's funny, then I guess it's definitely worth it. And I mean, yeah.
I basically exactly agree. Is Catherine Newton the she's the recast of Cassie, right? Or what? His daughter?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't know. I totally agree. I thought it looked like it could be cool. I need some more time with Kang because I know he did nothing for me in Loki, so I need some more there, and hopefully this gives it. I mean, it will. Like this is meant to be like the big mainstream, I think, like a bombshell moment for him to get out there. Set up the next 50 movies with him as the villain. So,
aren't they going to be done with him quickly?
Well, when he be? Well, Kang's Dynasty is in 2025, right?
But is that the end of Phase 3 or is that the end of Phase 4?
That's the end of Phase 6.
Oh, right. Okay, right.
I think. Damn it! I can't keep this shit in track, dude. It's unbelievable. Yeah, no, it is the end of Phase 6. I think. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. 3 phases for a main villain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Fitzy. Well, you didn't see that, right? I just want to make sure.
No, but what is Ant-Man in like the popularity rankings of like the current, Avengers? Because he'd be like top 3, surely.
Oh, would he? I don't know.
Honestly, I mean, probably.
Because like Spider-Man number 1, and then
Spider-Man, Thor, Ant-Man, probably.
Spider-Man. Oh, Thor, right? Yeah, I forgot about Thor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I feel like Ant-Man. I mean, when his first film came out, it was sort of he was like also just sort of there, not in a bad way, but because there were so many other solo films at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but now you don't have Black Widow, you don't have Iron Man, and Captain America is kind of like
he stepped up. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Ant-Man was one of the originals. He was in the OG Avengers in the comics. He's getting his time in the starlight now. Sunlight.
Yeah.
Moonlight. Spotlight. That's the one.
I think all 3. You just named 3 film titles.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Oh god, let's talk about some real cinema, Fitzy. Let's talk about what was this Succession trailer that you just saw?
Yeah, it presented like an interesting, season 4 is gonna be great because it presented like an interesting opportunity that was only explored, an interesting dynamic that's only been explored in like the end of season 3, which is like a group teaming up together,
Oh, you're being non-spoiler vague. Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it's like we've never really actually seen this team together, and it's like that. The trailer's giving off the vibe that the whole season's going to be like that, and that is like awesome because we've never seen that unity,
Never.
And we're also going to get like a more clear like two-sided battle, because now you have like a clear division. You have Tom and Greg on one side. So it's gonna be great. It looks great.
Hell yeah, dude. Oh, that's going to be a fun conflict. Is Alexander Skarsgård in the trailer? That's all I need to know. Damn it. I need more of him, dude.
I know. He's so good.
God damn. I must say, though, like with the... Coming into season 3, right, like I wasn't obviously there for the trailers and the pre-build up to it, but like there was a very clear conflict heading into that season as well as to where the positioning of the characters and where they're at, right? And who's going to be taking on who, you know what I mean? At the start of season 3.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't really remember exactly, but yeah.
So, but by the end of season 3, that isn't really what it became. So I'm wondering if season 4 is going to like start that way and evolve into something else, you know? If that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. I think the start of season 3 is more like vague though. I don't know.
It is. No, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, I don't know. Yeah, you don't know who's like with Logan or not. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
The lines are more clearly drawn this time, for sure.
Yeah. It seems like the most clear, like, two-sided battle kind of thing that the show's ever like gave us.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. I think that's kind of what the show's been building to. Like, anyway, it's epic. There was a shot where they all had sunglasses on, they're walking, probably speaking their business speak.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that it's, spring of next year, which is, I guess, the first half of the year. So,
yeah. Yes. Love it. What kind of dialogue would they be saying? They'd be saying like, "We've lost our shares in the holding company, but we can still get venture capital support." Like that'd be all the kind of shit. Yeah. That's what it would be. God damn, I'm excited. I feel like I'm going to rewatch the whole thing before as well. All right, now it's time for our highlights of the week. Jaden, what have you been watching?
I watched Last Night in Soho, finally. Finally got around to it. I think it's my last Edgar Wright film I need to watch.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was really brilliant. I think the third act falls apart a bit just because it becomes a bit too much, a bit too overwhelming, a bit too much for both the character and the audience. But I thought it was brilliant. I thought the aesthetic and the styling is brilliant. I think Edgar's capturing of the 60s is you can tell it's like, I think whenever Edgar does something, you can tell it's a real passion piece and he's got a real heart for it. And like seeing his appreciation of the 60s and in his kind of depiction of it in those, dream sequences is really awesome. I think Thomas and Mackenzie does a fantastic job as usual, as his lead. I think she is really fantastic and definitely like the highlight of the cast. I love the twists and the turns. I love the callback to like the classic, Italian giallos, like the kind of the latex and the blood and just everything and the neon. I think it's fantastic. It's everything that I thought it would be, everything it promised to be. I think it's really brilliant. And what a guy Matt Smith is. It's just, just if you can be a person, you'd choose to be Matt Smith, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Really?
Dude,
definitely not.
I'm just gonna put it into three. I'm gonna deliver three points, and you'll change your mind.
Okay.
Actually, I can give four even. Made out with Jenna Coleman in Doctor Who, makes out with Thomas and Mackenzie in this, makes out with Anya Taylor-Joy in this,
okay, I see what
and makes out with Millie Alcock in
that's what
in House of the Dragon.
And hang on, makes out with Claire Foy in The Crown.
Even more. Like he's just
isn't everyone like every single one of those instances there's like a bad power dynamic though.
That's actually totally valid.
It's like every single one of those moments relies on some kind of creepy like
not
mechanism.
in Doctor Who. Doctor Who's the best one and
no, but he's like 1,000 years old, so it's like weird.
Oh yeah, but not really.
Oh yeah, but not really.
It's like saying, you know, nah.
Oh my god. Something
If
tells
anything,
me
she's
this.
the one in Doctor Who. She's the one that forces it on him.
He was just grooming
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, kind of he was, to be honest. Yeah.
you. Really?
Yeah.
Something tells me this won't be the end of this either Matt Smith simping or Matt Smith discussion
No.
over the next week.
Yeah.
So yeah. Fitzy, what have you been watching?
Well, I did finish House of Dragon, but can't talk about that. Oh no, I didn't watch any movies. I watched you know, Carson Runquist, the guy in Letterboxd, but the very popular.
The annoying dude whose things are always popular even though they're shit.
Yeah. I watched the short film he made, Dirtbag. If that counts. That was okay. That was actually pretty funny because I've seen his other short films, and they're kind of whatever. But this was his first like major thingamajig, kind of big production. And yeah, it's like the guy. It's pretty funny premise. Like the guy's trying to get rid of bag of dirt, but he doesn't want to like throw it in the trash. He wants to put it somewhere respectful, but then he keeps like not finding a place. People keep rejecting him from like being able to put it anywhere. So I think the premise is really like paid off in like surreal kind of stupid comedy. I felt like it was a bit. I mean, you can't make this too long because it's kind of absurd, but I feel like it needed like a little bit more. Like it was a bit short, you need like a little just extra minute or something. But it was a good short film. The main actor was pretty funny. So this rugged, kind of messed up guy.
How is it? Is it like a short film or is it like a 30-minute short film?
It's like 10 minutes or something.
Oh, okay.
14 minutes, yeah.
Would you describe that as a short film or a short film?
Medium.
That's a healthy
Medium short.
length for a short film, you know.
Yeah,
Healthy short film.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
like once you start reaching 30 minutes, I'm like, this is
That's what I didn't want to happen, but I think it just needed like a little bit extra. But it was like an actual good short film, you know. Like it was a really good short film. And I wasn't expecting him to make a good short. I'm gonna be honest, because like his other ones were just like mini projects, so you can't really tell the quality from that. But you know, still kind of unexpected. Good product that came out. So yeah.
Cool. Speaking of short films, healthy short films of that length, I watched 6 of them, and they were called Tales of the Jedi. And I already feel like I got some thoughts in there with Jade via text already, but I loved it. I totally loved it. Like, it was. I feel like did I make this comparison when we talked about the trailer? I don't know, but for me, it's like. I don't know. It's like Visions for me, basically. It's like you take. I didn't really like Visions. Like you take Visions, and it's like you make it canon. Okay. You make it Clone Wars animation style. Okay. Written by Dave Filoni. Fuck, you got me. And that's exactly, and it like totally lived up to that. Like that's exactly what it was. And it's just everything I could have hoped from it, really. I mean, they're all different, but thematically consistent as well. I love how they feel like each one feels distinct, but like it builds to sort of a grander identity overall, if that makes sense. It's not like Visions where you literally just, they may as well have been, I don't know, they could have been released years apart for all I know. You know what I mean? It does feel like it's a bit more cohesive in that way. And there were some standout moments for any like hardcore Star Wars fans into the canon, into the world, like some standout things that do what the best Star Wars does, which is some moments that are going to make me look at other Star Wars I've seen for years in a whole new way every time I see it now in the future. And that's like the best compliment I can give to new Star Wars at this point, and it totally does that. There's probably like 5 examples of things that the show does where it's like, damn, I'm never going to rewatch that scene in that movie the same way, you know. That happens a bunch.
Yeah, like in that third Dooku episode, is that the one? Like, because I feel like it happens like 4 times in that episode alone.
So, Fitzy, are you okay for us to spoil it? I don't know. It's not. We're not going to spoil. Like, it won't spoil other things. It's just going to. It spoils within itself, basically.
Well, I can't want to watch this now that you've spoken up, but I can just mute it or something. I'll just like mute your volume or some shit.
You sure?
And
I
then
can
like
just not.
just
We
do
can
like
just
a
not do it.
no, it's fine. You obviously want to talk
Okay.
about it.
All
I'll just
right.
do
All
it.
right.
Do like a thumbs up when you're done.
Okay. We'll do a thumb. We'll both do a thumbs up.
Okay.
All right. All right. The third Dooku episode. You mean So okay, I feel like there's a ton. Well, what specifically are you talking about?
Well, so we see him erase Kamino from the archives. We see him meeting with Palpatine much later on. We see his doubt emerge most clearly there when Qui-Gon is talking to him about, like, you know, seeing the Sith Lord and whatever, and like the council's kind of ignoring him. We see that he really cares about Qui-Gon is the other thing, which is really awesome. I love. We see that in the earlier episode as well.
Yeah.
We see him kill Yaddle, which is phenomenal. I thought Yaddle was fantastic as well, by the way. Like, you know, for such a background throwaway character for years, you know, I thought she was great in this.
Didn't speak weird.
No, exactly. Yeah, that was the other thing.
He's just had a speech impediment this whole time.
Yeah, specifically mentioning, like, you know, the Clone Army and Cypher Diaz as well. You know, I think that episode was loaded, and I think it was probably my favorite episode of the bunch.
Yeah. No, totally, dude. Kevin Carter's score. Like, come on.
I was thinking
It was
about
like
this as
next
well,
level.
because I'm like, it's not, because like I remember we were talking a while ago about like if you don't get, I think we're talking about like scoring like the live action. Oh, we're talking about scoring the Ahsoka series. You know, we're talking about who do you get, and we're like, oh well, Kevin is that kind of like, you know, the default answer. But I'm like, does Kevin do a Star Wars sound, or has his kind of scores matured past that? You know. Because they don't sound like John Williams' Star Wars, you know, that it doesn't sound like Kevin kind of, to me, doesn't have the Star Wars sound that Disney would want to be pushing in their mainstream products. I think it's brilliant. I think it's fantastic, and I love how it's evolved in like these over these seasons, and to the point where it's at in season 7 of Clone Wars, and in now this Tales of the Jedi, where like it's awesome. It's Star Wars to me, and it's Star Wars to a lot of people for the Clone Wars, but it's not Star Wars for the majority, you know. But yeah, I think Kevin does fantastic. Yeah,
dude, that synth as Dooku and Yaddle are flying to the Palpatine's creepy building. Oh my god, ruptured my soul. It's crazy. Yeah,
I love how Palpatine has a creepy building downtown, by the way, and just doesn't get discovered. Like,
I know that whole thing's weird. It's just funny though. Yeah, Ian McDiarmid was like, I feel like he always comes back for Palpatine, or most of the time comes back a lot for Palpatine, and like it's always great to see him because he's Ian McDiarmid and he's fun. But like I thought his vocal performance was like even more than I could have expected from him. Like it was stand out, if that makes sense. Like it was just some of his line delivery was like super sinister. It was like, oh, I mean, beyond just like him doing his regular like, oh yes, like it was like actually like sort of like, oh, like scary. Yeah. Well, what was your favorite episode? I'll ask that.
I think the first one with Dooku or the third one with Dooku, like it's like episode 2 or episode 4 were probably my 2 strongest ones.
Yeah, okay.
I think the Ahsoka stuff was cool, but it's like I was saying in the text, like it's not as meaty as I would have liked. I think seeing that kind of background, I think it would have been great to cap the episode with Plo Koon actually picking her up, because like that's obviously like we get a bit we get told that in Clone Wars, and we see like a flashback, I think, of it. So I think it would have been great to just cap that episode off with, you know, Plo Koon flying in, you know, yeah. And then the later 2 episodes just felt like there wasn't enough for me personally. It felt all very quick and kind of moving. I get it's tales, you know, of the Jedi, and it's just meant to be short stories. But yeah, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. No, those 2 Dooku ones were. I mean, all the Dooku stuff was stand out for sure. I mean, I generally agree with you with episode 6, but I just thought it was like the whole opening of episode 6 was awesome. Like Ahsoka being Padme's funeral was really nice. Like I thought that was one of those moments where it's like, damn, I'm gonna Revenge of the Sith. Ahsoka's there. That's awesome. But like I thought episode 5 was like phenomenal for me. Like the way in which it adds this layer of Ahsoka's been training. Anakin essentially had trained Ahsoka to survive Order 66 for years.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, that's
incredible.
Right. That is, yeah, because like, that adds level to like the season 7 scene where she's on the console blocking all their blades in a circle.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Fair enough. That was brilliant. Yeah.
I thought that was super clever, and it's also, like you said in the text, the other element that I thought was really well done in that episode was its use of time and how it really cleverly uses one of the more underrated aspects of Clone Wars, which is, I think, how the character models change over time, how the outfits change over time, and how it really cleverly used that to just instantly tell the audience how far we've jumped in time right now in this one cut. And how effective that was storytelling wise, where I'm like, holy shit, like you feel the progression of Ahsoka, like sort of, you feel like 7 seasons worth of progression that you've seen in the other show, like immediately in 2 minutes, just through the visual storytelling of it. So I thought that was great. Yeah. Anything else before we bring Fitzy back?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I just love seeing a bit more of the political turmoil, especially in the Dooku arcs. Of like senator corruptions and stuff. I think it's always been one of the better aspects of Clone Wars, seeing corruption and shit like that. So I thought it was nice seeing like a little despondent village that's been, fucked over.
Yeah. How Dooku responds to it versus Qui-Gon. That brings up that episode brings up a lot of, really delves into that's a great character study actually, of like, because Qui-Gon is very much against the Council as well as Dooku is, but it's sort of how they're different and how they are different, and how they both challenge the views of the Jedi traditionally, but why Dooku turns to the dark side and Qui-Gon doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was also super, super sad when Dooku was reflecting on Qui-Gon's death at the tree at the Jedi Temple.
That was really nice.
Yeah, and he's talking about he was born here, so he was fascinated by this green. And like, at least he got to die, having seen lots of green,
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. I think Fitzy's, should we just like keep dragging it out longer? Are we back? Is he still muted?
He's muted, I think. Yeah.
I was muted. I knew you were dragging out then. I was reading your facial expressions. I knew exactly when you were done talking. I was trying to live through that whole time. I was a little glimpse into like the death experience. I only got words from Zach's mouth. He's more expressive. I got whole and 7. That's what I got. I had 2 words.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
When did I say 7?
To season 7. And
I think like
season
7.
That. But
I said whole 7 seasons worth of. That's what I said. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
But I want to watch this in Andor, I think, because like
Andor this week. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I think I watched 1 season of Mandalorian. I don't think I'll continue that. Maybe, and then Clone Wars I'll watch in like one day. But these 2 I'll definitely watch in the holidays. Yeah.
So I saw that. Sorry, I saw someone stick it all together. It is 6 days worth of content. All of Star Wars visual canon at the moment, like audio visual canon stuff, like all of film and TV. Is
actually 6 days.
Yeah, 144 hours, 6 days. Yeah.
Jesus Christ! It's going to double in the next 2 years.
So you've got that to look forward to, Liam. If you think you can watch all this Clone Wars in one day.
Resistance. Yeah. I think you'd really like Andor, Fitzy. But that was one thing I did want to ask you as well, Jay, and while we got Fitzy here as well, is like I don't know if Tales of the Jedi is a good thing for someone who hasn't seen all the other stuff to watch. Like, I feel like it was so great for me because I'm so immersed in the world. I don't know what it's going to do for less hardcore people. Like I would never recommend this to a new fan or anything. Not that Fitzy's a new fan, but you know what I mean.
No, I think it's valid because it fills out the story and it fills out episode 1. So, like, I think the Dooku stuff you'll be able to touch base with, but the Ahsoka stuff you probably won't be able to. How much of Clone Wars? You've seen some of Clone Wars, right, Liam?
I've seen some of season 1, I think.
Yeah, you might be able to touch base a little bit, but not. Actually, no. Don't watch it. No, don't. Yeah.
So see, episode 5 will just completely go over your head, and episode 6 will just be like. Episode 6 will just be a spoiler.
Yeah.
Okay.
And watch then 1 through 4 and then leave it alone.
You can watch episodes 1 through 4, yeah, for sure. And they're awesome. Yeah.
I mean, Andor is what I'm most looking forward to because everyone Twitter and saying it's good. So yeah,
The Twitterverse, they know what they're talking about.
yeah.
I'll tell you. Yeah, no, I do think you'd like Andor for sure. Yeah. Now comes the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is your favourite instance of a musician acting on screen? You know, TV, film, whatever it is. What do we got here? Now, Andy submitted 2 answers. I don't know, like, do I have to pick one? Do I? Was the first one sort of a joke with Andy Lau, you know?
Yeah, skip that one.
Okay, so Andy says Andy Lau, not really. You have to join the Discord to get that exclusive content. But Andy, his real answer here is, this is an odd answer, especially because I've spent ages trying to find a good performance to come from a musician. But my answer is Ice Cube in both 21 and 22 Jump Street. Okay, spoilers incoming, by the way. That scene in 22 Jump Street where he finds out Jonah Hill has been fucking his daughter was hysterical. It really was. I get that there are so many seriously great performances from musicians, but I'm sure they spent so many hours and lessons on being able to act really well in serious films. If you compare them to Ice Cube, he makes it look so effortless because he's already possessed a cool natural screen presence as a comedic actor. Makes it seem like he doesn't need any lessons. He just rocks up and does his shit anyway. Does his shit very well. So yeah, that's my answer. Okay, I don't actually care if musicians act well in films. Andy, this is a top tier answer, and I'm really upset that you got in there first with it because I love Ice Cube in those movies. I think he's hilarious. Yeah, it was great. Luke said, Huey Lewis in Back to the Future. Don't know who that is. Is he the dude playing the guitar on stage, I guess? Or like play one of the band dudes on stage at the end of that film?
I don't know. I don't know where he appears in that film at all. Because I don't know what he looks like. I only know Huey Lewis from American Psycho, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Is he who Patrick Bateman plays on the stereo?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know where he appears in Back to the Future.
I could only think of that band scene as like I remembered musicians were there, so I guess that would sort of contextually make sense. But I don't know. Luke came in with an answer we were confused by. Sorry, Luke. Andy came in with a S tier answer. So what are our answers? Fitzy, what are you thinking?
Well, I should look at some. I want to say Lady Gaga in what's it? House of Gucci is pretty good, but Jamie Foxx. I always thought of him as an actor. I didn't know he was a singer. Because he's got a really good voice. I heard him singing like at a radio interview, but he also was like in Gold Digger and stuff. I don't know many of his other songs, but Justin Timberlake is one I found. Justin Timberlake in The Social Network. That is an amazing performance. That is one of the best performances I've ever seen as like, a smug kind of tech guy. It's really great. He's such a dick in that movie, dude. He just fucks over Andrew Garfield the entire time. It's a great villainous performance. So I'd probably say that. But Jamie Foxx is pretty amazing as well. In Collateral and stuff.
Oh yeah, I love Jamie Foxx. But you bring up an interesting dilemma. There were a lot more options than I actually even could think of by myself, and there is this interesting line of there were people popping up where I'm like, yeah, but I'd mainly think of them as an actor first. I don't know, does Marky Mark count? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
I didn't even know he was a musician. Was he a rapper or something?
The other thing is Haley Steinfeld, who has a pretty successful career in both acting and singing.
That's hard. I can see a case to be made. We can make the argument if we like, but I feel like, generally speaking, the question was in the spirit of musician first has been in a couple of things, So with that in mind, I also had Justin Timberlake as a potential, but I got to go to Lady Gaga and A Star Is Born. Fitzy already brought up Lady Gaga for a different film, but I don't know, she's starting to creep more into these things. She's going to be in Joker, that sequel. So, this movie, I thought she was great. She was terrific. She feels that. I mean, she basically like plays like a version of herself. You know what I mean? So that helps, I guess. But no, it really works for me. I think that movie is quite emotional, actually. So you got to give credit to the lead performances there, and Bradley Cooper's a great. He's great. He directed the film as well. So yeah, no, that's my answer. What about you, Jaden?
Well, my answer's no longer counted because we've just talked about how it's not in the spirit of the question. But my answer was going to be Idris Elba as Luther. In Luther, it's just great. You know, just 5 seasons of just him as this hard ass detective in London, just banging. But since it kind of goes against the spirit of the question, I will say Scott Muscuddy, aka Kid Cudi in X.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was another one I found and I thought, oh yeah, I quite liked him as a.
We also that's a reference to the future.
That's not. I thought you might say Harry Styles in Dunkirk.
Well, that's the other thing. I think Harry Styles was really great in Dunkirk, like genuinely. But then, like as I was thinking about it, I was like, I've seen some things recently about people talking about his like performance in like Don't Worry Darling, and like they're like, oh, I finally understand why Chris Nolan just told that guy to shut up in Dunkirk or whatever. So I'm like, okay, so is the reason he has very little lines because he's actually a shit actor, and is he actually not that good? And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. I guess we'll see. So that's why I didn't choose Harry, but yeah, Scott Muscuddy, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you'd have to judge for yourself, I guess. Yeah, that's
hilarious. The other major one is Eminem in 8 Mile.
True.
Yeah. I don't really like that movie. I mean, it's okay, but
yeah, I mean the movie's okay, but his performance is pretty good for a musician.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the best thing to come out of that movie is that song. You know?
Did it come from that movie? It was already existent.
Yeah, it's a banger. All right. Very, very good. As always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film, or in this case, television program. Yeah, in the YouTube comment section, send us a DM on Instagram, or join the Discord server. This week, we're asking you, what? Or, I guess, who? I don't know, like, how generous do we want to be to dragons as life forms, you know? What is the best dragon?
I think you need to give a who.
Yeah, I think a who is
okay.
necessary.
Who is the best dragon? Yeah, let us know. Across all media. That's tricky because there's different types of dragons, different, depending on the world, different intelligence level of dragons. Like in Skyrim, the dragons just straight up speak. You know what I mean? They speak English. So it's like, well, that's definitely a who. But then, like, how far backwards do we go from there? I don't know. But yeah, let us know. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Fitzy, what are we doing next week? And what's up with all the dragon talk?
Well, we're doing a TV series, which we haven't done in a while. We've done like 3 or 4, haven't we? But yeah, we're doing... Yeah, maybe 5. We're doing House of the Dragon, the Targaryen Game of Thrones show, which is on Foxtel or Binge, if you have Binge. As it's always advertised to be on Binge. So if you have Binge...
Yeah,
that's
Binge. Right.
Is Binge a sub company of Foxtel, right?
It's just their streaming app, yeah.
Right.
So they decided to sort of separate the branding, yeah.
Okay.
Really? Because I have Foxtel, and
I think you have to pay for Binge on top of Foxtel. Like it's not.
Yeah, they're different products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
they're the same. It's the same company.
Yeah. That's why they share so many of their shows, right?
They share all their shows, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And Binge gets the HBO stuff.
Yeah. It's funny though that they really push Binge as being the thing. Like all the ads only say it's on Binge, you know? That's obviously a choice on their part. Anyway,
that's weird because you can just... Yeah, because you can stream everything from Foxtel, so I don't really get it.
Yeah.
I mean, people that don't want to pay, $100 for 3, packages on Foxtel a month,
Yeah, I think they wanted to because what they did for a while was they had Foxtel Now, which I think technically still exists, but they would say, oh, you can subscribe to Foxtel Now for for whatever the Binge pricing structure is, but they just wanted to create the separation because I think their concern was that when people hear Foxtel, like, oh, to sign up and get the box. Like, I think they wanted to clearly distinguish that this is only a streaming service, and if it's got Foxtel in the name, then it would confuse people. That's I should.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Foxtel now. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, get hyped, right? House of the Dragon.
It's gonna be
I'm
huge.
excited.
Got all my notes ready, dude. I've done some studying. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah,
I've
revision.
got 6 episodes to watch by next week.
Oh shit! Hey, but you did suggest to watch it, didn't you? To
Oh
review
yeah,
it, didn't you,
don't
Jay?
worry. Like I'll smash it out. Yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay, that as long if you because you suggested it, I don't. It's fine. I don't care. You know, it's fine. So yeah, we're gonna have a 3-hour long discussion. Get hyped for that. All right, that's it for this week's episode. Once again, thanks everyone. Thanks Liam and Jaden for joining me as always. We'll see everyone next week. Have a great rest of your day or whatever, and goodbye.